All right, right. So before we start migration, let's set a mood. And to set a mood, I will do an AI lab. So we'll do a couple of basic AI exercises here. And this will help you out to play with AI tools that are available in AWS. Mostly they will not ask you this in the interview, neither in your examination. It is just for fun. I think one of you said that, can you also cover an AI piece here? So I'm just for fun, I'm covering, right? So from an AI perspective, we'll be focusing on one or two services here. So we will start with image recognition, right? Now you have seen there are a lot of applications that are coming in on the internet today, which can recognize your face, right? Which can recognize what is there in the photo. So what Amazon has done is Amazon has created a fully managed image recognition service. Now, when I say fully managed, what it means that Amazon has taken the AI and it has trained them on billions of images. Absolutely correct. You heard me right. On billions and billions of images, Amazon has trained their AI on. That means the AI that you get is already trained. You don't have to train it. You can integrate this with your application, right? And then system will work from day one. Just an API call you have to do. There's no need of building an AI infrastructure. There's no need of training your machine learning. Nothing you have to do. It is already trained. It is ready. You integrate with your product. You're ready to go tomorrow. Right? So there are 5, 6 use cases that Amazon is trying to articulate this AI can do. Right? The first use case is object and scene detection. Right? So the first use case is object and scene detection. Under your object and scene detection, there's a dummy photo that Amazon has uploaded here. Right? Now you can upload any scene photo that you have. Right? For example, if you see this, it has detected there are cars here. There is a road. There's a guy who is doing a sport shot. There are a couple of more cars. There's a lawn. And if you see here, it is seeing there is vehicles in these photographs. Transportation, right? It is saying there's an automobile here. There are cars. There is a person. There's a human. And there are likelihood chances. There's a sport angle to it, right? It can see there is a ski board also. It can detect it's a ski board, right? It can see the road. It can see wheels around it, right? It should see buildings and trees also, right? It can see path. I don't know what machines it is talking about. City, urban buildings it is seeing, and downtown parking lot, right? Very inspirational. Sidewalk, pedestrian, architectures, neighborhood, couple. I'm not sure. I could see the couple there. Uh, is there a couple in this photo? I don't know. It should be somewhere. So likewise, there is another photo here. A landscape of New York City, and it is detecting this, right? So let's play with this. Let me upload some random image here. What do I have? I'll go to desktop. I'm just uploading a mountain photo here. Right, and if you see here, I just uploaded the photo. It can see 99% there are mountains here. Isn't that amazing, guys? There's a nature. It's an outdoor shot. It can also understand that the mountain is freezing. There is an ice there, right, which is amazing. Snow, it is saying it is a glacier, right? Mountain range, and it can see the peak also in the photograph here. Are you getting my point? Right, a simple photo you upload, it can detect and tell you what is there in the scene. So where will you use this? Right, smart roads and traffic signals. You can have cameras at the traffic signals, right? It can jump and it can detect the entire scene. How many people are crossing the road? How many people are crossing the road? How many people have jumped the signal? Who is driving the car? At what speed the car was moving? One use case, right? Or second use case is you can have this in malls, right? People are moving here and there, right? So to put the mall's perspective, let's focus on facial analysis, right? Now, for example, okay, are you guys are with me? You guys can hear me, right? And I'm recording this session. Okay. So if you see here in facial analysis, they've uploaded a girl. It can detect the girl's face here. and it says this girl is over 99%. She's a girl. It appears to be a female, and it is also detecting the age 20 to 38. Now this is not accurate because it is only one photo, but if you upload couple of photos, it can become accurate, right? Now just to give you an example here, matrimonial website, right? I want to get married, so I'll upload my photo. I'm 32, but I will say I'm 22. So the matrimonial site can quickly scan that and it quickly say, hey, I'm trying to fake my age. This is applicable for both male and female. If there's a female that she's uploading and she's 30 but she wants to say she's 25, the system can detect and system can answer that, right? And this can work in groups also. If you upload group photo, it can detect multiple people. And there you go. Looks like a face, right? Looks like a face like female, right? It is also female. Age, it is 9 to 14. Right, age between 26 to 43, 28 to 43, right? So let me put my photo here. I don't know, I'm not a great looking guy. Right, so looks like a face 100%, appears to be a male, right? 99.6%, so it is 100% not sure whether I'm a female or male. Right, but it is detecting I'm a male here. It is also trying to identify my age, but again the age is not accurate. But if you give multiple pictures to it, it can sum up and it can give you an average age, right? I'm not smiling, of course. It's a passport photo. Appears to be a calm. Yes, I'm not angry. I'm not pissed off at anyone. Not wearing a glasses, it is understood. My eyes are open, mouth are closed, does not have a mustache, has a beard. I don't know, I think I have a light beard here. Right? Are you following me? So this is another use case that you can try, right? Celebrity, it is detecting my boss, my ex-boss, right? And it is also detecting Andy here, right? So let me upload some celebrities. And there you go. You can see there's a Shah Rukh Khan, right? Suhana is there, but she's not a celebrity yet, right? Abram is there, right? And this dude is there, I don't know his name. And then you have his wife. It is detecting these guys as celebrities. So you can put Rajnikant's photo or any celebrity's photo. IMDb is owned by Amazon. So they have all the data on celebrities. You upload a photo, it can detect who is the celebrity here. Right? It can do facial comparison also, right? If there's a missing child, you can put these cameras in malls, so it can keep taking everybody's picture here and can match with it. If you have seen those Mission Impossible movies, right? If you put one photo, it'll try to match with thousands of photos, right? It is like that. So if you see there is a girl here and the girl is not straightly positioned towards the camera, she's not facing towards the camera, she's facing the other side, but it can pick up the match here, right? Likewise, if you see this girl here, she's almost hidden. If you see on the right hand side, she's almost hidden a little, at least 25% she's hidden, but system is able to recognize her. Even if you see here, system has done the match correctly. So likewise, the second use case, if you see her picture is clearer here, but it is little darker due to light. Even in that situation, it is able to recognize that you could see here, right? And the same thing with her also, right? It is able to detect her. See the tone, face tone. She looks fairer here and she looks a little darker here, right? So all these pre-trained AIs that are available, then you have a text. So if you have a lot of scanned documents, you can put it here and it can detect what is text. Hundreds of scanned documents you can upload, and if you click here, you can see it is detecting the number plate also, right? J389 NLT, great for traffic signals or jumping signals, where you can scan the number plate and it can automatically recognize the number in the car, and it can integrate with your fining application, and it can put the fine on the driver, or it can associate a fine on the driving license, or it can associate the fine with the car registered number, right? So if the car is registered on your name, let's say car is registered Mahesh's name, and Devi takes it for a ride and he jumps the signal, right? Since the car belongs to Mahesh, right, people can fine him. I mean, like, the governing body there can send the fine to Mahesh because the car is registered on his name. But if I could use a combination of facial recognition in this piece, right, then I can see who is driving the car, and I can match that photo with the driving license. And then I can also send a fine. I can send 2 fines, one to the car owner, in this case Mahesh, and other fine goes to the guy who was driving. In our case it is Devi, because his face is matching with his driving license. Are you guys are with me? Are you guys are understanding the potential of AI? Do you think this is a joke? Okay, everybody says yes, yes, yes. That means you guys think it's a joke. Okay. Right, so you can do video analysis also here, right? You can upload a video and you can track and see who is there in the video, right? If you have any celebrities in the video, it can detect, right? So a couple of other use cases that you can try. Let me show you one more very popular AI tool that is available in AWS. It's called Polly. So what Polly does is, if you type anything here, right? If you type anything here, what this Polly does is, your Polly will read this text in a natural language, right? If you've seen some videos on the YouTube, they will give some text and the robot will be reading, right? No. If you have heard of AI news anchor, right? I want you to spend some time and watch this video, right? This is built on AWS by Chinese guy. So what they have done is they have created an artificial avatar, right? And the AI will do voiceover. So when you give a script written in English, AI will read as if a human is reading it. So the news anchor jobs are now automated. That means I can have any guy sitting there. I can automate an anchor there. I can give the script and an AI will read it to me, right? Just to give you an example here, right? Love story. More. So what I'll do is, Taylor Swift love story is a lyrics that I have here. I'm going to copy this lyrics and I'm going to go to Polly here. And in the Polly, I'm going to paste this text. Now my text is ready. It is giving me a couple of options here, right? Which artist do you want to use? You can use male singers here. You can use female, right? So in this case, I want to use Jonna, and then no thanks. And then I will click on download MP3. When I say download MP3, you will hear this song recorded and downloaded as an MP3. But I will first play the speech here. Can you guys hear it? Are you guys able to hear it? Okay. I'm sorry. I think you have to trust me. I'm definitely not lying. Right. So you can paste any text you want. You can listen it, and if you like it, you don't like it, you change the girl. Right. If you still don't like it, you change it again. But if you want a male version, you can do a male version. It is not great at singing, but reading essays, speeches, all that it can do. And then you can click on download MP3. And the whole thing will be downloaded as a script read by someone else. You can put the background music, ooh la la, and you're ready to go. Right. This is another AI use case that where they're automating a lot of artist job, speech readers job, and couple of other guys job that is getting automated. And what else? Okay, enough of fun, right? Play with these two AI tools. One is text to speech, one is image recognition. I don't know how my tongue twisted so difficult, right? So this will recognize the images for you and you're good to go. Are we clear, boys? Migration Hub. Right? So spend some time, see what is happening in AI, right? The world is changing right now. You can scan documents, it can convert to text, you can put an image, it can detect who you are, it can tell male, female, it can do scene detection, it can do celebrity detection, lot of use cases that are available. I want you to play with it, right? And if you, sometimes what happens, you're slow at typing, right? There are tools that are there where you can read and it can convert that to text. One use case is WhatsApp. If you speak into the WhatsApp, it can also record your audio, it can also convert as a text. But in AWS, it is opposite. You put text and it will read it out to you as a human person is reading. That is a big deal. Mm. So this is a public referenceable document that is available by AWS. And if you see here, both of these documents that I'm referring in today's lecture are published by AWS. And if you see, I'm picking this document from the original channel. It is not that some lunatic has published this. I'm actually using the document that is published by AWS. And there's a download button that is available where you can download this. This is for you and me. So we can download it and we can use this. Mahesh.
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Loud and clear, Mahesh. What did you do, man?
Thank you. No, I'm just looking why it is not working to my microphone.
So what did you do?
I not did anything. I'm just checking all the settings.
Okay. Yeah, you're angering, man. Unnecessarily fighting with people, man.
Oh, why should I fighting?
I don't know.
came here for learning.
Yeah, but I don't know. Your friends are telling that you're fighting with everyone. Okay. To answer to your question, if you see here, you see download SDK. So there's an SDK available and there's a getting started guide available. You have to click on download SDK. It will take you to the SDK page. And if you see there are SDKs available, all these various languages that you have for Node.js, .NET, Java, SDK is available. So you need to download this as SDK. And second thing is you have a getting started guide and developer resource. You can click on this developer resource and it will give you step-by-step instructions on how do you integrate this. There's nothing that you need to develop. It's basically an API call you have to make. You can click on this PDF version. It'll give you a book and it'll give you step-by-step instructions on how do you integrate with this with your mobile phone or with your web application, right? There was one startup that I have attended, right? One of my student actually joined there. That is how I got to know about the startup. The name of the startup is called Plant X. X as an X-ray. So what this app does is it's a community-based app. So you just have to take an app and wherever you see a plant, you click a photo. So the app will take that photo and upload that into AWS. It can detect, it will come back and say at what stage of the plant growth it is getting full nutrition or not, right? From a sun's perspective, whether how much sun it is receiving in a day based on the texture of that leaf of the plant. Is there is a disease to the plant there, right? All that information you will get. Right. The name of the app is called Plantex and it is available in App Store, which is running off of AWS with the image recognition services, right? So there are a lot of things that are happening and there's a user guide that is available which gives you clear instructions on how an integration would work, right? Very detailed. They have explained you what is this service, how do you integrate it, how do you make an API call, right? All that is available here. Let me put this, right? start lab detection, click on this. You see all the syntax and commands, right? Start lab detection, label detection. So I'll share this with you. You can download the SDK and follow the guide, and this will give you the instructions to integrate. But I think you need to have some amount of development experience, because it is not as easy as copying and pasting it. There's some sort of due diligence that you have to put into in order to use these capabilities. Are you with me? Well, let's go back to migration now. Okay. So what is migration, guys? What is migration? From one platform to another, moving from one place to another, moving one place to another. Exactly, right? When I say migration, right, I am not happy with my landlord. He says Kia Mia every time. Rent, you come late, you guys make noise. Right? Jingjak he'll make. So I will migrate my house, right? So what did I do? I migrated from India to UAE. Right? Mahesh migrated from India to Europe, right? So people will migrate from one country to another country, and this has been happening for last 2000 years. Pilgrimage, right? People used to move from one country to another. People used to travel the entire Silk Road, right? People used to migrate to temples and religious places, right? People migration was been happening. Animal migration will happen due to weather changes. Birds will migrate from one place to another for water, animal, plants, right? So everything will migrate for better, right? Like we migrate our house from one place to another. Companies will also migrate their stuff. They'll take their data center, they'll take their servers, their workload, and they'll move from one data center to another. Like you take your TV, fridge, clothes, everything else from one place to another. Businesses will also take their softwares and they move from one place to another, and that is called migration. You're absolutely correct, right? Doubling, dude. In doubling, is weed legal in doubling? Then I will not come, man. I'll go to Amsterdam to be specific, right? And perhaps I'll go and visit Zohrul also sometime. Is weed legal in US, Zohrul? The place, which part of the US are you from? He doesn't want to invite me. I think I'm a troublemaker. He will not smoke. I will smoke, yeah. I sometimes feel Zohrul joins and he doesn't reply to me. I've hardly heard him. Anyways, right? So we migrate from one place to another, one location to another, and we do for better, for a job, sake of job, for a sake of growth, for a sake of happiness, right? Now, what is migration? Migration is a combination of process, it's a culture, it's a methodology, and it's a combination of tools. It's called migration. Like we discussed in DevOps is also a process, it is a methodology, it's a culture. Migration is also a process, methodology, and culture. It says, how do you migrate from one place to another? So let's break down and understand. Since we come from an IT background, we will talk about workload migration and IT migration, right? We will talk about that migration. So let me zoom this up. Now there are 5 stages to do any migration, right? First you evaluate, right? What are the things that you want to migrate, right? Beds, chairs, TV, a lot of things that you have at your home. So likewise in IT, in your data center, anything that is virtual, your virtual machines where you have your operating system running on, your applications that you're running on top of it, database that you're running on top of it, right? Any other virtual appliances that you're running, any other services that you're running, right? You will evaluate what you want to move and what you want to leave behind. There are a lot of environments that you will have, UAT staging environments that you have, right, which you created but you're not using it and you don't want to carry forward. Like you'll have old stuff from your old home that you do not want to carry forward, you will discard. So you will evaluate. How do you evaluate? You will see how many VMs that you have. What are the size of those VMs, CPU, memory, RAM, right? And then storage. What is the size of those VMs, right? How many do you have in pair, right? And then you check the dependency. What works in your traditional data center might not work on cloud. For example, DB2, IBM DB2 is not supported with AWS. Though you can set up an EC2 instance and you can build that separately, but as part of an RDS portfolio, it does not support. Solaris, HP, AX, UX, these operating systems are not supported. Certain applications which are very legacy that you cannot move to cloud, right? Or it's not cloud native application. The applications were not written keeping cloud in mind, so therefore they cannot come. You're getting my point? So a lot of considerations that you will need to evaluate. Once your evaluation is done, you will plan. You'll first groom the application. Now, for example, if you're moving finance application or payroll application, then you will group, you'll plan in such a way that attendance, right, your portal for salary slip, right, new hiring, joining portal, right, transportation portal, etc. These portal, you'll group them together and you will move them together, because if you keep the salary slip portal into your on-premise and if you move the attendance portal to the new cloud, they cannot sync. So that means your payroll function cannot work correctly. So you should think, in order to make your payroll function work correctly, these applications has to be clubbed together and migrated. One example, right? There's several aspects that we can discuss, right, where you have to group these applications and move them here. The only reason why we do this is to ensure that once you move the application to the cloud, the function that relies on these applications are not impacted. If you do half job also, they cannot use it. So make sure that you either do it full or you don't do it at all. So that is how you plan. Then you design, right? How would you design? In our design lecture, we learned how do you design high availability, how do you mitigate single point of failure, load balancing, auto scaling, self-healing. You're getting my point? So these things you will involve in the design philosophy, because AWS will give you capabilities, right? And you will also take advantage of native capabilities that AWS has. For example, we have database service. We have Active Directory, right? We have mail service here. We have Chime for chat communication in your office. We have DNS services called Route 53. We have DevOps environment, right? There's an email service that is available. There's a documentation service such as WorkDocs. There is S3 available. For NAS, we have EFS. So there are a lot of services that are available where you will design and you do technology mapping to ensure you pick a right type of service. Are you with me? So that you will do in your design phase. And then you start migrating, right? There are migration methods that I will discuss more in detail in subsequent slide, where you move the workload from one place to another. Once you move it, once you shift your house, you have to rearrange your furniture, make your bed, arrange your kitchen appliances, etc. So likewise, you will do optimization in terms of allocating the right amount of resources, making sure network is working, right? All those hygiene and cleansing work that you will do. Are you with me so far? Okay. Now, these 5 stages are different assembly lines, that different things that you do. But when you see from a process or a methodology perspective, when you do evaluation, basically you're doing migration readiness assessment. What can be moved, what cannot be moved, you're preparing a list. When you do plan and designing, they go hand in hand, migration readiness and planning engagement, right? And migrate and optimize, you execute migration and make sure that the workloads are running. So this is the 3-stage process with 5-stage assembly line, right? Now this can be done. There are There are native tools that are available in AWS which allows you to do this. And also you can use a third-party tool or a partner's tool to achieve this. Are you with me? So let's explore further, all right? So migration execution, each application migration usually involves one or more or each of the resource type, right? So first is discovery. You will see what to migrate, what not to migrate. You do grouping and mapping. I just gave you payroll and finance example. Your attendance, leave application, salary slip, all has to be together, right? And then you draft a migration strategy. What is the migration strategy, right? Mahesh is sitting in the center here, or he's standing in the center here. And if he sees on the right hand side, he will think, okay, is this a server migration? If he's seeing on the left hand side, he's thinking, okay, is it a data migration, like employees documents that are scanned and uploaded that can go to S3, right? Their experience letter, other leaving letters that they got from their previous company, right? Or if you're working with the procurement team, a lot of invoices that they have scanned, right? He will see, okay, where the data will go, right? Otherwise he's still in the center, and when he looks in the bottom, he will see, okay, is it database migration, right? So there are three strategies that are available: server migration, database migration, and data migration. Now we will discuss on 6 strategies. How do you migrate them, right? The first strategy says revisit, right? Retain or revisit. What is retain or revisit? Customer will keep host app. I'll give you exactly 1 minute. I want you to quickly go and read this. Okay, right? So what is 6R migration strategy, right? This is 6 R's. R stands for retain, revisit, retire, rehost, replatform, refactor, and re-architect, right? There are 6 strategies that are available. Let me break down one at a time. So what do you mean by retain or revisit, right? When you migrate your house from old house to new house, right? Until and unless you don't vacate your old house, you still have to pay rent there. And for new house also you will pay rent. So you'll pay rent two times. Because you have already shifted to new house, you have moved most of your stuff, but some stuff you have still left behind in your old house, you have not vacated it. So your landlord will continue to charge you a rent. Are you with me? Right? And why this is necessary? Because after migrating, if it fails, you can always switch back to your traditional data center as a rollback plan. And therefore, you will ensure that even once you move your application, you will retain this application in your previous data center for some time. So the thought process that you need to have is customer will keep host application in the source data center, minimum analysis and validation of the scope and application affinity, dependency and integration services and management, right? You go back and you finally revisit before you're doing a migration. And once you have done migrating, because what happens in the last time also, in last minute also, things might change. He will say, no, I've changed my mind. No, I was thinking I want to migrate this, now I don't want to. Whatever that might be. You go back and revisit one last time, and once you have revisited it, you start migrating it, right? Once you migrate it, how do you decommission it, right? How do you retire your application? Application and host decommission on the source, no migration to the target, application owner approval is needed. So basically it means that once the migration is done, you shut down the VMs and you keep it for some time before discarding them, right? So these are all the two hygiene works that you have to do. Keep revisiting it, keep checking it again and again and again and again, right? And then you retire the application. Rehost is also known as lift and shift. That means like to like application migration to the targeted cloud. Minimal effort is needed, right? And there is hardly any changes that you will make to the layout. Storage migration is needed without conversion. So what it means is you will take all your application and that Windows or a Linux machine in its as it is state and move it to EC2. And then you turn it back on. That is all you're doing right now. So from VMware, you take it up and you go and you put it in EC2. That is called rehost or lift and shift. So what is replatform? Up version, see for example, in your traditional data center, you'll have Windows Server 2003 or 2008. Right, when you go to cloud, you want to say, hey, I want to have 2012 bus, or I want to do 2016, or from a Linux perspective, version 6.5 Red Hat. Now I want to upgrade to 7. Right, you will up version your operating system, you'll upgrade your database, right, to a latest version. So that is called replatforming. So some level of application changes you have to do because the OS is changing and database is changing. And sometimes what happens, because you're choosing a different upgraded operating system, you might have to reinstall the middleware and application also, right? And some amount of data conversion you have to do because the tables and schema on the old database will work differently. On the new database, it will work slightly different. So those conversions you have to do. Right, and you can also change the database. In your source, you can have MS SQL and you can move to Oracle or Postgres or any other database. That is replatforming the strategy. This is also called migration. And then refactor, that means changing the operating system or database completely. Right, in your on-premise data center, you had SUSE or some CentOS. Now you're taking Red Hat or SUSE, or some other version of operating system such as Amazon Linux. You're changing the operating system, you're changing the database completely, MySQL, Oracle, something else to something else, something else to something else. You're changing middlewares, right? You had Apache, now somebody says, hey, you're moving to cloud, why do you want to bring Apache? Use Ninjax, it is simple, it is lighter, etc. So you will deploy Ninjax there. Getting my point? Right, and then if it is not Ninjax, then something else, and some code level changes also you will do to make sure it is compatible, right? That is refactor. Re-architect is basically trying something brand new, moving into SaaS, right, such as Salesforce, Dynamics, or some SAP or Oracle from your legacy application. Let's say you have a lot of separate applications in your traditional data center. You all want to combine and come into ERP. That is called re-architecture, or replacing the entire application stack that you have, because application is way too old, was not written keeping cloud in mind, therefore it cannot come here. So let me continue. Are we clear? Let me see your screen first. Okay, no questions so far. So who has left my class? A message Shiva, where did Shiva go? And where is this guy? Right, Saddam, where is Saddam? Message Shiva and Saddam to join back. I don't know who is calling and troubling me. Okay, let me continue forward here. Right. So now migration scheduling. Right. So how do you schedule in migration? You go and talk to the stakeholder. You will say, sir, madam, you know what? This Friday, this Saturday, I'm ready to migrate. So you will schedule a migration, right? And you will give a tentative date. You will give 1 week from now, 15 days from now, respectively. Second thing is you will do data seeding and smoke test. That means you will do mock migration or drill migration. You will take a migration and take an image of that, and you'll do a dummy migration to see how it is working. And you will prepare a documentation. We call this standard operating procedure. What are the 10 things that you have to do before migration, and what are the 10 things that you have to do after migration? You getting my point? So in my case, I'm lethargic in terms of drafting a document together. So instead, what I do is I record the video like I do it for training. You record the videos, you capture the step, and you're good to go. Right? Now, the third thing is communication plan. You communicate. Right? You go to stakeholders, you take approval. Right? And you keep sending this mail every day. Hey, I'm doing this migration on 15th. I'm doing this migration on 16th. Every day you keep sending one mail, so that you're sending reminders to everyone that the server is about to go down, the server is about to go down, the server is going to go down. When the migration is nearing, when you go near to the migration 2 or 3 days, every day you will send two mails, one in the morning, one in the evening, reminding them that there's a migration that is scheduled and this may not be available. If you have worked in MNCs and typical companies, you might have seen those communication emails. After this, you will use migration tool to migrate. Now, what is that migration tool? Right? Let's understand here. Okay. So there are a bunch of migration tools. The first one is called SMS. Right? Server Migration Service, SMS. Simple Messaging Service is different than Server Migration Service. So under Server Migration Service, which is a native tool from AWS, what this tool does is it will migrate your workload from your on-premise to AWS. And the best part is anything that comes from outside to inside is free. Second thing is there is no licensing cost for this tool. This tool is also free. So isn't that amazing? Amazon is giving you a free tool to migrate. But there is a catch. The catch here is it can only migrate from an Hyper-V and VMware environment to AWS. If you do not have an Hyper-V or a VMware, and if you have a physical environment, or if you have any other hypervisor, then the SMS tool cannot be a fit for you. It cannot do anything for you. Are you getting my point? You cannot use this. Right? So this only supports VMware and Hyper-V, no other environment, excluding physical also it does not support. And this is a free tool. This is the drawback number 1. Now the drawback number 2 is it cannot do live migration. Like VMware vMotion that you have where VM is running, people are accessing and the migration is happening. This cannot do that. It will only do offline migration. It clearly says it will take a snapshot and it will export this VM to AWS under EC2. But this is the free tool. The next option that you see is database migration service. Right? This can do heterogeneous and homogeneous. So when I say heterogeneous, that means it can migrate data from your on-premise to AWS. And if your data on-premise is, let's say, Microsoft SQL, as part of an heterogeneous mode, it can port it to Oracle. Or if you have in your on-premise Oracle, you want to move it to Aurora or MySQL, it can do that. So that means from any database to any database, this can port. That is called heterogeneous migration. Homogeneous migration means Oracle to Oracle, MySQL to MySQL, Postgres to Postgres, MariaDB to MariaDB. Are you with me so far? Right? And it can Third thing it can do is it can do data synchronization. It is asynchronization. That means if your primary database is doing incremental data there, it can also see the difference and can do the incremental backup or incremental data synchronization from your on-premise to cloud. Right? That means this data migration service comes with absolutely no restrictions. You getting my point? Right? So there's no restrictions in DMS, which is also known as data migration service. Now, there are a couple of other tools. These are all the partner tools. These are all native tools and these are all the partner tools. So what Cloud Endurance says is, hey, if you want to do live migration, you can use our tool. Right? If you have a non-VMware or Hyper-V environment, such as physical environment, or any other hypervisor, it can still do migration. It can do Azure to AWS also. And the best part about Cloud Endurance is it can do the other way around also. That means if you have workload on Azure, or sorry, on AWS, you can move it to Azure. If you have your workload on AWS, you can move it back to on-premise. That means there is no limitation what this tool can do. It can also take your physical VM and convert that to virtual. Isn't that amazing, guys? But the caveat here is this tool will cost you $400 to do one VM migration. Right, so let me go back and check. Okay, $399. Yeah, it is $400 only. Are you guys with me so far? Are you guys understanding? Right, your SMS tool is free, but this tool will cost you this much. Okay, very good. Let's continue. So ATA data also does that. It is just from another vendor. Right, so you will pick up one of the migration tool that you need, whether it's a native tool such as SMS or DMS or Cloud Endurance to do your migration. So once you have done that, you will do a strategy here. The strategy is whether to lift and shift or make and break strategy. Whichever the strategy that you want, we have discussed this strategy here. Pick one or more or all to do based on the use cases that you have. You coordinate the cutoff, you test it, you track, and you report it. You track how many migrations are happening, right? And how many migrations have passed, how many migrations have failed. So in the screenshot in the example here, right, it is a consolidated migration tools that are available. It is in a consolidation mode. That means if you're using Snowball to move, it can track. If you're using data migration service, it can track. If you're using server migration, it can track. In fact, if you use Cloud Endurance also, it can track. You're getting my point, right? So if you see here, they're giving an example here, right? They're moving all the servers that are completed and these many servers are pending. In a single dashboard, you can see. And in this example, they're trying to reflect by BU. Sales application, they have grouped them and they're sending. 8 have completed. Here, marketing application, 10 have completed. And some other marketing application that you see here are completed 100%. I think it is not marketing, this is inventory. Inventory application, marketing has completed. So you can group applications and you can move in a group here. Right? So how do you do migrate? It is pretty simple. You pick a migration tool, whether it's an SMS, DMS, or Cloud Endurance. You group the application server that you want to migrate. You start migrating your application. You track the status, how many pass, how many fail. Once the migration is done, you go back and decommission your servers, means you shut down your servers in your data center. Right? In just 5 simple steps, you can do migration. So likewise, Guys, can you hear me? I think I got disconnected and I got reconnected. So in this example, right, there's one new component that Amazon is giving you. It's called Amazon Discovery Service, ADS, right? I'm not a huge fan of ADS. It does not have a capability that VMware native tool has or Hyper-V tool has, because VMware and Hyper-V tools, they can generate their own inventories. Right, if you go to inventory option, if you say generate, it can pull up an Excel sheet, it can capture more detailed information than the discovery tool can do, right? But this is in an event where you have physical environments, a non-VMware or Hyper-V environment, or any other virtualization technology, and you would like to create an inventory first, and you would like to do evaluation to know how many servers you have, their hardware sizes, the amount of CPU, memory, RAM that is allocated. This discovery tool will come handy, right? This will prepare the details for you. Again, view and group server application, pick up a migration tool, migrate your applications, track the status, and decommission your data center. So there are 6 steps here. In previous use case, there were 5. And if you see, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, and there were 5 steps here, right? And here you have 5 and you have 6 steps here. At least exactly telling you what is happening here. So let's dive deep here. So if you're using application discovery services from AWS, right? If it is a VMware environment, it works agentless. You connect to vCenter, it supports all the operating system, server specification, utilization, data, everything it will pull up. If it is not a VMware environment, then you have to install agent. If it is a virtual machine or a physical machine, you have to install this agent on all the machines. Install on agents on all the machines. Most Linux and Windows are supported, not all. Server specification, utilization, processor, inbound, outbound network connection, all that it can detect. Right? So again, demo, you have all the information collected. You group it, you pick up a migration tool, you start migrating your application, you'll check the status for pass and fail, and then you will decommission your server. And everything that you use here is absolutely free. There is no cost except using a third-party tool such as Cloud Endurance or ATA Data. Everything else that you use is free here. Are you guys with me? Now we can hear you. We can't hear you. Hey, Zuhrul, where did you go, man? That time I asked you, where do you stay? That time you did not answer me. Okay, right? So discover, migrate, and track, and this is how your migration hub would look like, right? If you say get started with discovery, it is giving the same step here, right? Choose and deploy AWS tools, view discovery server, group, right? So you click on view AWS discovery tools, right? It'll tell you AWS discovery connector and agent. So download this agent here for Windows or Linux and then start installing on all the machines. And then you click on download connector and you run this as a VM there. It'll connect to all the environments. It'll pull up the report and give it to you. Right? This is a simple tool that you can use, but not a huge fan of it. So when you're looking for server migration, application migration, and data collection in tool, let's discuss all this one at a time. Right? So let's start with server migration here. Server migration. Get started. Now, it is very simple. There's nothing that you can do from AWS Management Console for server migration. What Amazon says is, Amazon is telling you, if you have a VMware environment, download this OVA. If you have an Hyper-V environment, download this one. You either download this or you either download this. right? And this is a VM that you have. What Amazon has done is Amazon has prepared the VM and they have installed all the necessary softwares that you need. So you have to download this and you have to launch this as a virtual machine in your data center. You need to launch this as a virtual machine in the data center, right? Once you launch, right, you have to copy the IP address. You have to get the IP address of this machine and you need to run this IP address in the browser. So once you run this in the browser, what will happen is it will ask you for two pieces of information. The first piece of information is it will ask you to furnish credentials of your VMware or Hyper-V. You have to give a username and password of your VMware or Hyper-V. So what these appliances will do is it will log in on your behalf and this will start scanning the infrastructure. This will start scanning the entire infrastructure for you, right? It will make a list on which of the VMs are that are required to move. That is the point number one. Now point number two is it will also ask you IAM programmatical user details. You need to create an IAM programmatical user. And if you could remember, I have shown you how to create a programmatical user. In the lab, I showed you how to create for S3 and Glacier. So likewise, you have to select EC2 instead of S3 or Glacier. Create a programmatical user and furnish your access key and secret key, and that's it. So this appliances in your premise will see your data center and also can see AWS EC2. And then you have to select all this instance and say move, that's all. It'll take snapshot of all your instances one at a time. It'll start moving into EC2. It'll start turning it back on for you. Are you guys are with me? So it is that simple to do. If you say view connection, it'll tell you how it is connected and how many servers that you're moving. So likewise, your database migration will also work. So database migration is a little different. Let me pull up an Excel sheet here so that you will understand better. Excel sheet. Open Excel here, right? So are you guys familiar with Oracle Golden Gate? Do you guys heard of Oracle Golden Gate? Okay. So this is your on-premise, right? This is your data center, and this is AWS, right? And remember, this is also sitting in AWS, and this is also sitting on AWS. This is on-premise. So what this can do is this can connect your database, right? This can connect your database. It can only copy the data. It will take a dump. It will only copy the schemas, tables, and record. It will not move the entire VM for you. It will take all the database details. It will hold it temporarily here, and then it will go and write here. Are you guys are following the lecture here? Right? So if you have ABC in your database, it will only copy the ABC first here, and then it will go and write it here. And it is not real time, it is asynchronized based on your network, latency, traffic, lot of other aspects. It will take some time to copy it here and write it here and then move it here. Right? So let me show it to you. On-premise migration I cannot show you because I do not have a physical server. Now, unlike like cloud, in the cloud, you get servers on based on number of hours. But if you're buying a box or if you're renting it, it is very expensive. right? A lot of money they will charge just to rent a box, and they will not rent a box for 1 or 2 hours. You have to give a commitment at least for 1 month, right? So I would not be able to show you, but you need to learn migration. So where will you learn it? It is pretty simple. Come to AWS on job support and type migration here, right? And look for Rakesh's video here. And what Rakesh has done is Rakesh has demonstrated lab on SMS. He has shown you how to migrate your instances from on-premise to AWS. And there's a YouTube video that is available where he has demonstrated step-by-step instructions, right? For example, if you want to see the episode 3, there's episode 2 and 1 also somewhere here, right? There's episode 2 and episode 1. So if you click over here, right, he's clearly explained how to migrate the VM, what are the steps that you need to follow. Very clear instructions is explained you. So you can watch this video, which is done by one of my students, and it should give you the idea, right? But database migration, I will show it to you. So create migration machine, and if you see the source is your on-premise, task to replicate is the DMS service that I was talking about. This DNMS service that you see in the center here, right? And this is your target. This can be EC2 or RDS. Next, right? I will say replication DMS, none. I'll take micro instance, right? And then next. Now what it is saying is it is asking from to. This is your from and this is your to, right? So you have to give your database IP address, DPIP, right? And then you can select your RDS. If you have RDS, you can say point this and RDS will show up if you have created it. If you don't have it, you can uncheck this and then you can give your RDS endpoint. Right? It is asking what engine. Let's say I have Sybase in my on-premise. Now here I want to put this in Aurora. I'm doing heterogeneous here. Server name, something like this. Port, right? SSL mode, if you don't want, you can say none, but if you want secure, you can select SSL mode. Username, simple like this. Username is root, password is root the rate 12345, and then you can give a database name here, MasterDB. Right? You can test connection and you can test connection here. It will test and tell you whether it can talk to both the database. If both the tests have passed, you just have to click next and finish. Your application will start, right? So migrating database is this simple, right? You just have to create an instance there. It will start replicating. But remember, this is not a free service. Though the replication software is free, if you're running on a micro, medium, small, large, whatever the hardware resources that you're consuming, you have to pay money for it and you're chargeable there. So make sure that you wisely do this lab, and you will only do it if you have a data and if you want to migrate it. Right? So let's dive further again. So right, server migration, I have talked to you, data migration, Snowball. So Snowball, I don't want you to do it, because if you say create a job, you fill in these details here, right? Local computer or storage only, or export from S3, import to X3, right? And then when you do next, it is asking you for a shipping address. You can put all your address here, and then 1 day or 2 day shipping. When you do next and finish, based on the request that you have done. If you have ordered a truck, or if you have ordered a briefcase, it will come to your home respectively, and it will come and pick up your data, right? I don't think you should do this, right? There's no point of doing this lab. You will be unnecessarily charged. Are you guys are following this lab? What is the roadblock, Mahesh? Why are you not able to follow this? I'm pulling your leg, buddy. I am pulling your leg, buddy. Right? So the other day you were asking where are the DUMs available, right? So the DUMs are available here. You click here and your DUMs will show up. All your DUMs are available. And then for CloudFormation, these are all the videos that are running from CloudFront. All these videos are running from CloudFront, Mahesh, and I want you to go and check. There is one video there where I've recorded for CloudFront. Right? How does I S3? I have integrated S3. I have integrated CloudFront, and I have streamed the video there. And all of these videos are also streaming from CloudFront only. Right? So try and go and explore all these videos at different labs that I have recorded here. So spend some time and you will find CloudFront lab here. Okay. Right. Now, I am sure that you guys, all of you have started working on your resume. All of you guys have started working on your resume, right? So what we will do is we will have a resume workshop sometime next week, right? Where I'll send you a meeting invite and we will do a resume discussion one-on-one again. And then we will discuss and we'll finalize and finish your resume, right? But today let's focus a little more on interview preparation. Have all of you registered in Slack? Are you guys getting job alerts? Are you guys are getting job alerts? Okay, great, good. Right? So let's understand some of the interview etiquettes and how do you crack an interview, right? So can someone tell me what is an interview etiquettes and what are the things that you need to follow? Okay, the first interview etiquette says, right, you will show him what he wants to see. And then tell him what he wants to listen. Are we clear so far? So these are the very important step that has to reflect. Don't keep arguing with him that I know this, I know this, I know this. No. Go with the flow. Don't interrupt him. Whatever he asks, whatever he says, have a thought process that, okay, what he is expecting, what is the next thing he is expecting, and you only tell him that. Third thing is, never hurt his ego. Right? I know you're right. The guy who's taking interviews dumb. He do not understand. He is wrong. Okay. But you will pretend that, yes, you are right, sir. I am only wrong. Or you can say, yes, I think what you're telling me is right. Perhaps I want to go back and revisit my thought process. I want to go back and revisit. I am confused. Never try to hurt anybody's ego. If you hurt interviewer's ego, he will say, boss, this guy has attitude. So never hurt your interviewer's ego. right? Are you guys agree with me? What is next? What is next, guys? Script your interview, right? So far what projects that we have done and the project summary that you're capturing, right? You have to create your own interview script. Hey, hi, my name is Sohail Adnan. I have over 12 years of IT experience. I started my career from being a Windows monitoring guy, moved into L1, L2, and L3, and happened to have various positions in my first organization. And then I moved into Happiest Minds, where I worked there for 4.5 years. I was introduced to Linux and AWS. I holded various positions there. I was a technical specialist there, then moved into a tech lead, then became a solution architect, right? A consultant. Then I moved to AWS. I'm a solution architect here, right? I moved into another organization. I'm a sales manager, right? And overall 12 years of journey that you have to say. And he's not interested in what you were doing 10 years before. He's only interested in what you have been doing for last 2 years, and is it relevant to what you have applied for. So then you will come back and say, hey, in last 2 years, I have addressed so many AWS projects. I have worked on e-commerce platform. I have built Active Directory and governance there. I have built DevOps. I have done VPC. I have tunneled in by VPN, right? Then you can talk about various different use cases such as building WordPress projects, right? Your design philosophies where you have built high level, low level diagrams, right? Your thought process and well architect framework. You take one of this topic and you talk in detail, right? I was a principal architect and was responsible to acquire customer. There were several discussions that I had with my customer and I arrived, right? I was required to build a VPC network with a VPN tunnel. There were 2 availability zones that we chose, out of which 4 subnets were created. 2 were for public, 2 were for private. All the internal applications were hosted on private network. And what internal applications? Payroll, attendance, internal employee portal, transportation application, and other business applications were hosted on private subnets. Public facing websites such as e-commerce and custom companies website, right? Email marketing tools, chat, and other capabilities were hosted on public side of the website. We set up Active Directory and governance there for employees to log in and log out. There were virtual desktops. We configured email. So you skeleton in your script your story. There's so much to talk about that you have learned so far, and everything that I'm telling you is actually taught to you in the training, and I have done labs there, and every video is recorded. So you have to narrate your story. So what will happen is when you're narrating your story, right? So when you tell your story or when you narrate your story, what will happen is he'll gain confidence that there are various aspects that you have worked into. And then he will say, okay, right? How do you configure route table in VPC? How do you do VPN tunneling? What are the challenges that you had? And then you can talk in a low level, absolutely ground zero. What is route table? How does it get connected? From where to where you connected? How did you create a NAT gateway? Right? How did you do tunneling there? Right? Then you, because you have done lab, you can use your own words and you can articulate. Out of 10 questions he or she asks, you're required to only answer 5 questions, because 50% proficiency is all you need to demonstrate. Nobody's 100%, neither your trainer is. And the guy who's taking your interview is also not 100%. Right? You're getting my point? So tell your story and have your content. So when you sit in an interview, you don't know where to start, where to, and you'll be like, bah, 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 bah. I know this domain is new to you, right? You're yet to become a subject matter expert. If you have any traditional or a legacy domain that you come from, or the current domain that you're working in, I am pretty sure you can talk to me for 20 minutes, explain me what work you're doing, what damage control you have done, what challenges you have addressed, and 50 different things that you can articulate in your current situation. But when you're learning a new domain, there's always a challenge. You don't know where to start, where to end. Have confidence and faith. Tell your story. Let him pause you and ask you questions. Control your rate of speech. Be very confident. So you need to tell your story. Behave. Right? I will not write it down. It is very obviously that you understand. Right? Behavior matters a lot. How do you come to the interview? How do you sit? Right? Go clean shave. Unless and otherwise there's a religious duty that you're performing and you have a beard, it's an exception. Otherwise, have a clean beard, get a haircut before going to an interview, Or if you have a long hair and you're a pony guy, tie your pony and go. Wear a white shirt, blue jeans, or wear a pant, formals, right? And dress for the occasion. Like you go for your friend's wedding, you'll not go like a chapper, right? How do you go to your friend's wedding or your relative's wedding? Dress up, right? You go to parlor, you get facial. Go like that. Smell good. Don't sleep and get up and go, right? Because your appearance matter a lot. The person, the hiring manager who's taking your interview, he will not only see you as a technical guy, he will see you as a person. How do you dress? Are you hygiene, right? And then he will ask you, right, the kind of a person you are, what you do. A lot of things matter. It's not about technology knowledge that you bring in. Your presence also matters, right? There are females that are working in the company, there are male that are working in the company, and they cannot hire you because you're not hygiene and you just spoil the whole thing, right? Managers are very keen on getting some people who are very disciplined in this matter. So behavior and well-being, wellness is very important. And not write a point here. It is self-understood. A lot of people come here. I take their interview. I really get pissed off. They're great in technical, right? But they have not dressed for the occasion, and I will not accept it. I want all, and there are a lot of people who can give me a lot of things on my plate, right? So with that said, hygiene, behavior is also important. Culture. Your culture is a driving factor for you to get a job, right? Why this culture? How is somebody's culture is relevant here? I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about the culture, right? So when I say culture, are you a social person? How do you spend your weekends, right? Are you punctual? This matters through your culture, right? So if you are born and brought up in a well cultured, well disciplined family, you will get up in the morning, you know what time to be in the office, what time to leave office, you know what to do with weekends. You are responsible, right? So manager will indirectly ask you, hey, what is your weekend plan? Where do you go? Don't go until I'll go to a pub and I'll drink. Then he will think you're a social boy. You will abscond offices, you'll take more leaves. You're not a serious guy, right? Though there's nothing wrong in having fun, but there's a thought process that develops, right? Say that, I have very few friends. I don't like to hang out. I spend most of my time myself. I read books. I do research on the internet, right? This represents that you're not into socialize. You're more towards workaholic and someone who wants to learn themselves, right? Someone who's grooming himself day in and day out. Somebody's bettermenting himself. So those notions you have to bring in through your culture and let the management know that you're a right fit because you're actively learning on your weekends. You some new thing, you pick it up. You don't hang out that much with friends, because this will give them confidence that they can call you for night shift. You can do night shift. They can ask you to extend work hours. You can extend work hours, right? They can request you for on-call support. You'll be available on weekends. If you're a party boy, you'll definitely give reason. My mother is not well. My grandma died, right? And you'll be partying somewhere. So culture plays a very strong role in hiring decision. Make sure you show you're responsible, you're committed, and you're ready to come and work, and you hardly have a social life. You don't have a social life. You are a robot, you're a machine, right? Don't tell them that you're a robot or a machine, but you have to portray one to be chosen. And especially we have Shalini here, right? So Shalini need to understand that you need to be flexible, ma. The more flexible you are, you will compete with the men's world, right? If you ask me, will you choose male or a female in your team? I will say I will choose male. The reason why, because it is very easy for me to work with a male. It is very flexible to work with a male. I can tell you, hey buddy, you know what? You work late today, tomorrow you come late. It's a deal between you and me. I can say, you know what? I want you to be on Saturday, Sunday. I'll give you leave on some other day. Right? So the gelling will work. I can say you work tonight, night shift is an urgent requirement that you have, and you will jump in and you'll rescue your manager. Right? So the kind of a bonding and relationship is very easy to build. When it comes to working with female, right? I cannot ask a female to work after 5:30. I have to send a mail to HR and say I have to justify why am I requesting a female employee to work after office hours? What is the necessity for her to stay back and do this work? Can't she do this work from home? Right? Why am I asking her to do night shift? Why am I calling her on weekend? So there are a lot of thought process that I have to think before I'm asking a female to work, right? Because females are not flexible to work with, and you cannot tell them to work. If they say I'm not keeping well, 5:30, done, that's it. There's nothing you can do. But for a male, it works great. And this is a very narrow. You can think I'm a narrow-minded guy. It is not a narrow-minded thought process. It is just that It is very difficult to work with a female when it comes to process, but it is very easy to work with a male resource. Are you guys are with me so far? Shalini, are you there?
Yes, Sohail, I'm there.
Okay, right. So your culture plays a very strong role. Let them know that you're a robot and you'll be always available. You'll work. You're very flexible. No objections. So this will create a confidence that yes, I'm working with a resource who is flexible, who's agile, both at the same time, right? What else? What else that you need to keep? Closure, right? Once your interview is done, don't take out your face and leave that room, right? Have some responsibility. That one guy has devoted his 45 minutes to you. He's taken your interview. Build the personal relationship, right? Say, hey Mahesh, it was nice talking to you, right? I have tried very best to crack this interview, but before I go, I would request an honest feedback here, because this is my learning curve. If I have not made it through now, your feedback will definitely help me out. I'll go back and I'll learn and I'll improvise. Take a feedback, take a voluntary feedback, ask questions, become his friend, gel with him. You get connected to him, right? So that what will happen is, even if you're not through, or even if you leave the interview, he will remember your name. You will make his life pleasant, right? And then when he leaves, you can go back and change his decision. When he's replying back to HR, he can think, okay, I think I should give a chance to that person, because he's a broad-minded, he's an open guy, right? He could not answer now, but he took my feedback, so tomorrow he can learn and he can do it, right? We like people like that, who accept that I don't know but want to go back and learn and come and deliver. Are you getting my point? So closure is very important, that you have that smiley face, fake smiley face, right? You talk to him. If you know the answer, tell him I know the answer. If you don't know, don't run around the bush. Don't try to fool him, right? You can summarize as, I understand this is the question that you have asked, but perhaps I have not worked in on this area. I would like to park this question. Let's proceed forward. Let's not waste time. I'm open for other questions that you have. Let's work with this. Remember, right? And when you're doing a closure, do an honest closure. Talk to them. Let them know how you have done the interview. If you're not done great, take the feedback and leave, right? And time. Time is very important. I am busy. Can you move this interview at some other time? I cannot take this interview. I have another work. Can you schedule this interview in the evening? Don't do this. Make sure you're available in the interviewer's time. Why this step is important, right? The interviewer might think, yeah, tomorrow morning fresh, I'll go to office, I'll finish 2 interviews and then I'll get back to my work. So when you move that interview to evening, he's already working, he's already pissed off. Some escalations have happened. Now he's forced to take interview by his talent acquisition team. He will come there for a heck of it. He will ask 2-3 questions. Neither he's in a mood to take, and he will just wash his hand and he'll be through. Don't do that. You work backwards with the interviewer's time, see what time he's available and give your time there, so that when he has time, you should give time. When he doesn't have a time, you will wash his hand in the interview. So time management is really important. Make sure that you are available in his time. You don't give time. This has worked out wonder. A lot of times happens, right? You go an interview, realize, yeah, this guy does not have time to take interview. For a heck of it, he spoke to me for 5 minutes and he sent me out. Let's not do that. Whether it's a phone interview or face-to-face interview, you should be available, right? And the last thing is, if you don't have all of this, don't go for an interview. I have seen a lot of people go for an interview. They'll say, okay, tell me about your AWS experience. He will say 1 or 2 lines and he'll sit quiet. He has nothing to talk about. And that person will ask questions from his experience for which you will not have answer to. You should always create a situation where you answer it, you tell the context, and from that context, he should cross question you, for which you will have answer. Right? And if you never have that context set right, then he will ask you question from his experience for which you will not have answer to, and you will not crack interview. So you open up, you say which technology domain, which tools you have used, so that he can ask you question from those tools and you can answer him. Are we clear? Will you remember all these points to crack your interview? So Mahesh is facing the same issue. I know. Each one of you are facing the same issue because these are some of the challenges that you don't see in the interview here. And if you go with this mindset, trust me, every interview, you would not believe, in last 2 years I have given almost 60 plus interviews. Every month 5 to 6 interviews that I have given in last 2 years. Why do I give interview? Student come back and say, hey sir, can you give me interview questions? Can you give me interview questions? Where will you find these interview questions? Will these interview questions be on the Google? No. The interview questions are with interviewers. So I go and talk to interviewers. I appear for the interview to know what questions they're asking. And trust me, in last 2 years, I've given so many interviews that I can pretty much crack every interview when it comes to AWS on this earth. I exactly know what is it that they're gonna ask. I have all the information. Even before they ask, I know what is my next question because I've given so many interviews. And I've developed this confidence that I can go and crack, right? So if you fail in first 10 interviews, don't get shy. You're taking feedback, you're doing everything right, you're taking your closure. And have a practice of recording your interview so that you can go back and you can improvise. And don't have a dilemma that I gave 50% right, I did 70% right. Boss, you have done pathetic, that is why you flunked. Either you get a job or either you get rejected. There's nothing like you did 50% right and 50% wrong. If you didn't get a job, you're pathetic. If you get a job, you're an excellent. So record all your interviews, share it with me so I can listen, I can give you a feedback what screw up you have done. Right? And the lot of jobs that are coming in Slack, I want you to apply. I want you to prepare yourself for the interview. Right? I want you to prepare your resume and come back and review with me. I can sit with you and finalize that. And then we can start helping you to get a job. I'll help you out for on-job support. Right? We have a portal that you have registered. So we will help you out for that. And in case if you think the training did not do justice to you, you want revision, you are all entitled to receive unlimited revision. So that means you can come back and follow batch and you can attend the whole class again. No objections, no questions. Right? So with that said, I will conclude your batch today, right? This will be your last class, right? Mahesh has requested me to cover Lambda and CloudFront, right? CloudFront videos are available in Slack that you can go and check. Lambda is something that I need to check. I will record the lab and I will share it with you all. And if you have any questions, I will take them right now, or otherwise we will wind up your last class today.
I have one question.
Go ahead, buddy.
In the last yesterday when you were showing all what we had to cover it, so it covers in the RabbitMQ. So how it can be configured?
See, RabbitMQ, see, I wrote this for somebody else. RabbitMQ is not even a part of your syllabus. It's not even a part of AWS, right? It was a story that I have written for someone where I've sent you as a sample.
No, if I had to appear for the exam, does it cover? It will come to the exam?
No.
Because I already cleared my AWS Solution Architect Associate. I need to appear for the professional one. So I want some syllabus and then information on this regard. Would you possible to provide?
Yeah. It is right now. It's available right here. Let me show it to you. AWS Professional Blueprint. Right, you have downloaded the examination guide, you have sample questions here, and there you go. So these are the blueprints that are available, which talks to you about some of the technologies and tools that you should be aware of. And download the examination guide, it will give you the instructions here. So this will tell you what are the things that will come in your exam and what are the things that you need to focus at, and there are different percentiles that they have captured here. Let me share this link with you. CLI class, I showed you CLI class with S3, Zorul. In S3, I have showed you how do you use AWS CLI to move your bucket, create your bucket, copy your file. If you want anything in explicit, I can probably prepare this lab and I can share it with you. So all right then, boys. So I will schedule a couple of sessions one-on-one with you for your interview preparation and for your resume preparation. Please ping me one-on-one. Do not share your resume write-up with your friends. And I strongly request you do not copy the content that I have sent you as it is. It is just a reference for you that I have written, right? It is already a spam because a lot of students have copied it as it is. So make sure that you write up a unique content. Even if you don't get your English right, no issues. Come up with a bullet point. I will articulate it in a different way and help you out to pull your resume together. Right? So with that said, if any one of you need revision, please ping me. I will schedule you in another batch also. You can come and attend the class there as well. Right? And then for your examination clearance, I have given you a representative contact number. WhatsApp him, take his information, and he might be helpful in terms of clearing your examination. So with that said, I thank you for your time and I look forward to reach out to you one-on-one.
Jude, hello.
Go ahead, Praveen.
Actually, I'm getting billed for 2,000 rupees. May I know the we can review.
So what you do is you have to delete all those services. Go to support center here.
Okay.
Right. And if you see I've requested for waiver already, so you have to just click on create a case.
Okay.
And then select billing.
Okay.
And then select free tier.
Okay.
In the subject you write waiver for the month of November, December, whatever it is. And you write dear sir, madam, I am preparing for AWS training and examination and I was practicing my lab on AWS and I have accidentally exceeded the free tier. Requesting you to kindly waiver my bill this time. I will assure you that going forward next time I will adhere to free tier. That message you write and then you select web and submit. In 24 hours they'll waive your bill. And remember all of you, Amazon will only waiver once in your life of your account. So you cannot go back the next time and say request for a waiver. Amazon will not waive. It is only once that they will accept your request for waiver. So make sure that you do diligently use this ticket to raise a waiver.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Right. All right then, guys. Thank you for joining and good luck, boys.
Sohail. How can we contact you? Because our group